Oh boy, that is a great question. Um, what we did on the case study project that I think was about as close to best practices as I've ever seen practiced was we had a cross-functional team that would look at the relative costs, risks, opportunities and benefits associated with fixing a bug versus not fixing a bug. And that spanned all four or five groups that were represented in there. Tech support, test, development, project management, and the sales and marketing guys and the executives, all looking at these things, because that really is, you want to say, okay, well, what do we get out of this? What's the benefit? Does it create some additional possible opportunities that might arise versus, okay, what's it going to cost, effort-wise, potentially other resource-wise, and what are the risks? I mean, maybe this is code we don't want to be playing with at this point in the project that might actually be more dangerous to get in there than leave it alone. So I mean, I think that's really the right way to think about it. Cross-functional triage team, this looking, not just simplistically at the cost and the benefits, but also including risks and opportunities in there, in that consideration. I mean, I think all too often what actually happens is the decision is made based purely on the development resource that's going to be required, and project manager says to developer, how long do you think it'll take you to fix that bug? Developer says, I can fix that in an hour. Okay, go ahead and do it. And meanwhile, the test manager's going, oh my God, you do that, that invalidates 20 person hours of testing that have to be rerun and aren't automated. Maybe the configuration management team looks at that and says, are you kidding? Are you going to touch that module? Do you know how module's connected to everything else in the entire universe? What's going to happen when you do that? So I think we often are not anywhere near as comprehensive in our perspective on this question as we really ought to be. So I am glad you brought that up, Jerry. And to tie that back to business value, as I was saying before, when we don't fix bugs that we ought to fix, then what happens is we're basically we're going to incur a cost of external failure, because when you got a must-fix bug that comes up in the field, that it must be fixed, right? I mean, that doesn't change the must-fixness of it. I mean, if it's a bug that would have to be fixed, if a customer were to be confronted by it, then we need to find it and remove it prior. And conversely, if we fix bugs that we really shouldn't, I mean, pretty much all projects are resource constrained, time and people and infrastructure and so forth. So basically, every bug we fix is another bug that we don't. So and this hence the phrase bug triage, right? Of deciding that these limited resources that we have, how are we going to expend them? And even if we were to get to the point where we run out of must-fix bugs, as other kinds of changes, features and so forth, that might actually be much better use of someone's time. Now that, of course, you have to keep in mind the concept of technical debt, the idea that we're going to defer stuff that is not a raging business priority right now. Well, eventually the overall bugginess of your code will become its own priority on its own right. But we would hope that you descend into that sort of pathological state. Obviously, the less bugs, the better. Okay, let's see. We've got a couple more questions here. Came in via email. Well, we dealt with the Agile one, and a question via email. This is a really interesting technique. Where can I learn more about it? As I said, there's that article on the basic library where you can go through the case study. It's going to show you exactly how to do it. There are other articles that are out on the basic library, the advanced library that have to do with return on investment. I think there's a hypothetical budget out there that includes a return on investment in a spreadsheet. So if you just kind of poke around and look at ROI, look for the phrase ROI or return on investment, and then look for spreadsheets, then that'll be easy enough to find. And then if you want a more in-depth discussion of this too, you can get my book, Critical Testing Processes. Then that'll give you a pretty detailed discussion of that. I had another couple more questions pop up here on the contact or the question frame. Roy says, I got it, but there was an Excel file. Let me see a PDF. Is there an Excel file there around? No, it's just in the PDF. The Excel file is really straightforward. I think there probably is a spreadsheet out there under estimation that will have that calculation in it, but the calculations are explained in the PDF file, and it's like I said, it's really straightforward. It's addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and that's it. So easy enough to find. If people are still confused, if there's enough popular demand, I can post that testing ROI calculator somewhere on the probably the digital library or advanced library or something like that. So but it is really simple. Trust me. Once you read that article, you'll go, oh yeah, okay, that's obvious. I just got past a note here. Sorry for an interruption. Let's see. So Mark says, you do mention the cost of automation tools. Would you apply the same logic to lifecycle management tools? Yeah, sure. I mean, the concept of amortization of the tools is something that would apply pretty universally. Now the amortization period that I showed there, the 3 months, or excuse me, 3 years amortization period, you need to talk to people in your organization about what the proper period is for that. Really, I was just using a hypothetical. Amortization is potentially a complicated concept, but you do, if you're going to make a big investment, then it's going to skew your return on investment numbers pretty badly if you don't properly amortize that. Your return on your testing investment might actually look negative for the year in which you made the big automation investment, because it takes you a while to recapture that value. Now, in the hypothetical case study, you would have gotten that all back pretty much right away, because we're looking at like a $500,000 return and only $150,000 cost. But certainly there's plenty of cases where where organizations make big tool and automation investments of various kinds, not just test tools but others. And if you don't properly amortize that, then yeah, that can create some issues. Okay, let's see. We've got some calls for posting the calculator. If you want the calculator, you want that spreadsheet posted, do me a favor. Send an email to info@rbcs-us.com, and that'll go not just to me, but also, more importantly, to the folks that do the web, and I'll then forward on to them the spreadsheet, and they'll post it up there. So I'd say the odds are pretty good it'll get posted. I'm guessing I'm going to receive a half a dozen emails here at this point. So go ahead and send the email to, as I said, info@rbcs-us.com, and then odds are pretty good that we'll get that posted in the next day or so. But in the meantime, if you just download the article and take a look at it, I can pretty much promise you that the math is so self-explanatory that you probably won't even bother to download the spreadsheet once I post it up there, because you're like, oh yeah, I already did it. We got another question via via email here as the winds continue to pick